Hey, I wanted to share with you from Acts chapter 5. This is when the apostles had been placed in jail because they were preaching in the name of Jesus, and they got placed in jail. They basically kind of stayed there, and well, the angel of the Lord came, opened the door, let them out, and then they went straight to the temple the next morning and continued to preach in the name of Jesus. So the high priest gets his council together and he's like, we got to do something. We got to shut this down because this doctrine is getting spread across Jerusalem. It's making us look bad. So this guy Gamaliel, he steps up and he's like, wait, we've seen this before. There was these other people who rose up in the past and said that they were somebody and something, and they began to gain followers. But it all faded away. And he says here, for if this plan or this work is of men, it will come to nothing. But if it is of God, you cannot overthrow it, lest you be found to fight against God. So it kind of made me think of like when God starts trying to do something new or something different, either in us or the people around us, and it makes us really uncomfortable. And we kind of want to, make it stop, see it stop, whatever. If we just step back and trust God to be God, and know that, if it's of Him, it's going to produce fruit and it's going to multiply and it's going to be a good thing. But if it's not, it's going to fade away. So, if we just step back and kind of let it be what it is. And I love here too that Gamaliel, he stepped up and said something. He didn't allow this intimidation from the high priest and the rest of the council members to continue on. He stepped up and he was like, wait, here's another idea, here's another option. And they actually ended up agreeing with him and let the apostles go. I mean, they beat him up. But the apostles, they didn't back down. They didn't back down from this intimidation either. They stepped up. They went out and they said, you know what, we're going to continue to preach in the name of Jesus. And here at the end of the chapter, it says, and daily in the temple and in every house, they did not cease teaching and preaching Jesus as the Christ. And as we know, that still goes on now. That still goes on today. It's still preached today. But had Gamaliel not stepped up in his obedience, because, I have to believe that the Lord told him to say that. I have to believe that the Lord brought that to his remembrance, to remember these people that where they had seen it before. And he's told them, like, he spoke out. He spoke again, up, and he spoke up. And his name means God's reward. So I believe that in his obedience, God must have rewarded him greatly for that. And I think we were all blessed by that reward because the apostles were able to continue on preaching and teaching and doing signs and miracles and wonders in the name of Jesus. And another thing this kind of pointed out to me was that if we just step back and allow God to be God and whatever His plan is to play out, then we don't stress ourselves out. We don't make these crazy mistakes of like killing people. Like these guys could have gone and killed the apostles. And how stressful. They were stressed out about this. They were stressed out that they were running around doing all this stuff instead of saying, let's just let God handle this and stepping back and watching it happen. They could have had peace.